Good morning, mate.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Two Crazy Guys, One Crazy World podcast, a podcast brought to you by your two crazy guys, one a baby boomer and one a Gen X. Different generations, yet both crazy enough to want to bring you your daily crazy crypto update as well as the crypto market news of the day. So sit back and relax with us, Stacy and Chris. Now, don't forget your challenge is who's the boomer and who's the X.
No idea.
Buddy, how are you?
Yeah, good, mate. How about you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm very well.
You look a little bit tired there, my friend. Are you all right?
Mate, I am not so much tired. Maybe I got up at about 4:20 to take one of my boys to the airport. So,
What a good dad.
Yeah, I know. So he's out there. He's off to Canada for his cousin's wedding,
Cool.
which is really good. It'll be a great adventure for him. His plane leaves. He's got an hour and a half in Melbourne. He's already nearly an hour late out of Canberra because fog has rolled into Canberra's airport.
As it does.
Canberra being an international airport, ladies and gentlemen, international, that if we get the slightest hint of fog, planes can't get in or out because Canberra, the international airport, doesn't have ILS. Now, here's the real crazy one. They used to let the planes take off in fog. That's why it was always good to be on the morning flight.
The first one out, yeah.
Yeah, and you could take off in fog. I mean, provided the runway's clear,
yeah.
You'll laugh. Well, now, no, not anymore.
They're stopping that too.
They're stopping that. Brad's plane is actually at the end of the runway.
You're kidding me.
And they're holding there until the fog clears.
That could take hours.
Uh-huh. Yep. So, there you go. There you heard it here first. Canberra International Airport. Go, guys, go. I mean, that's it. What happens if he misses his connection to America, which leaves in, I don't know, 2 and a bit more hours?
It depends on how it's booked.
Yeah, it's all booked through Qantas. They'd have to put
if it's the one leg, if it's the one leg, then they'll cover it.
But he's got an ongoing leg from LA to Canada.
No,
so they're going to have to sort all of that out because it'll delay him by 24 hours.
Oh, what a bugger.
Yeah. Oh, I know. He won't be happy. But anyway, if he needs a lift home from the airport, yeah, I'm busy.
Yeah, because it means you'd have to go tomorrow morning and try again.
Yeah, no, not going to happen. Get a cab sometime. Or fly to Melbourne today and stay in Melbourne.
Huh? Yeah, it might be a safer option.
Buddy, that's been my morning. What about yours?
Oh, it's been pretty crazy. Yeah, although it looks like we actually got some rain overnight. I have to say, I'm just looking out the window. There is a little bit of dampness around, which is very exciting because we haven't seen any rain here in quite some time. So
I think it's nice it your way, mate, because we had it yesterday morning, and I think all 18 drops landed on the concrete.
Yeah, I'll send it. Well, look, to be honest, I'd actually prefer to send it all out to the farmers, mate. There's some pretty desperate people out there. And I'd like to see them get some.
You know, one of my friends works with Parks and Wildlife here in Canberra. And unfortunately, they've been up in the hills culling kangaroos.
Yep.
And even though the official cull is over, the reason they've had to do it is they're starving.
Oh, really?
They're starving. He said he's never seen, all the years he's been with Parks for as long as I've known him, and I've known him since the early 2000s.
Yep.
And he said in all these years, even through the big drought that led up to the 2003 fires, he has never seen it so bad up there.
Wow.
You've got kangaroos up there that are literally starving to death.
Wow.
And he said, so they've got no option but to use an ozone.
One option is common ground.
Apparently Siri's trying to tell me where to go and get coffee.
Oh no, she said she could help with that.
She can help with that because one option is to go to common grounds at Gowrie.
Look at that. Who says Apple can't help? Look at that.
Yeah, and so it's funny because this morning when I was driving to get Brad, you go along Soul Drive, which is a very dark drive here, ladies and gents, and there's kangaroos everywhere, and they were. And one of the things I noticed is how thin they were. Man. So I mean, I understand the farmers and everything else, but it's the wildlife as well, and it's just, we need some decent rain down here.
They need it everywhere, mate. There's so much of Australia's drought-ridden at the moment. It's crazy. So
it is. And we used to get really good rain coming through here. It used to come down through the Tuggeranong Valley.
Yeah.
But do it anymore because apparently it gets stopped at the Brindabellas because the ground temperature's gone up roughly 2.5 to 3 degrees.
Oh.
because of all the building down in the valley.
Really?
Because it's no longer grassland.
Yeah.
And therefore, you've got a lot of concrete and asphalt and everything else, which is increasing the ground temp. Yeah. And as the rain clouds, it used to always come across it, even when I lived down there, that the early 1990s and late 1990s, they no longer get to the valley anymore. It stops at the Brindabellas and then moves away and dissipates.
Wow.
Yeah, which is the first real easy to identify bit of global warming that I've seen. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And that's not through pollution. That's just
that's just from our which makes absolute sense.
Yeah, easy way to explain it.
Yeah, actually makes sense.
Easy way to explain it. Yeah,
crazy stuff.
Anyway, let's get on to the crypto markets of the day, because unlike the rain, they may have been coming down too.
Well, look, I got a funny story last night because I was just having a quick look at my CoinStats app on my phone, as I do, and all of a sudden, I had this flash announcement come up that Bitcoin had risen 56% in the last 15 minutes, and I went, "What?" And then I looked, and it said Bitcoin was 15,600 US, and I went, "What? What? How did that happen?" And but I don't know what happened because within the next 30 seconds, it just reversed and then hunted straight back down to where it was. So that was really strange. I have no idea what actually caused that. And on because I logged into BitMEX, one of the trading platforms I use, and I was looking for the big spike and the big jump, and it was nowhere to be seen. And I'm going, okay, so what's happening? But of course, CoinStats uses a combination of stats from a whole bunch of exchanges from all around the world. But just where that one came from, I have absolutely no idea. But I was going to have a look at the chart and see whether or not there was something, whether or not the charts on CoinGecko sort of showed anything or not. But it doesn't. Just looking here now, and I'll see whether or not it.
Wonder how many people sold it in that 15 minutes.
Wow. Yeah. See, there's nothing. Yeah, no, there's nothing there.
There's nothing.
No, 26, 27. So yeah, because this happened last night. No, it doesn't show on that chart there. There's nothing there that indicates what I saw. So I think CoinStats must have had a little bit of a spat for some reason.
CoinStats a trading platform as well, or just a monitoring?
It's monitoring. It tracks your. In fact, I'll just open it up.
You can bring up coins and all that. I know.
It does have. It does have the ability through APIs to do trading.
Yeah, that's only back into, like, I know I had my Bittrex account linked into CoinStats for a while. And you could, but that would sell through Bittrex. But their price spike, if I logged into Bittrex to sell, I would have seen it was at 10,000. But imagine if they had their own trading thing and they suddenly had the price of 15,000 and all these people went to sell. God, that'd cost them a bundle.
Yeah. So interesting. I was just looking at their app there, although that's the trading view. But again, I reckon there was some anomaly that hit last night because it now is there's no sign of that massive spike.
Yeah.
So so I can't say for sure what happened there, but let me just say it drew my attention real quick.
Mate, by then I turned off my chart. Stacy, you got to get a life, dude. You can't spend your whole life sitting in front of this.
No, seriously, I wasn't. It was literally because I get notifications from the CoinStats app, and it was literally it was just a notification that popped up, and I looked at it, and went, what? 50%.
I turned them off.
Yeah, crazy. So anyway, That was my
top 10,
excitement.
Top 10.
So Bitcoin still bouncing. Bitcoin's still bouncing around for the 24 hours, up 0.1, sitting at 10,147. Just going up and down. It's gearing up for something. We don't know what. So Ethereum's sitting at 186. It's up 0.4. XRP's at 20, just below 27 cents, up 0.6. Bitcoin Cash at 307 and up 0.2. Litecoin 7250, just down 0.7. And Binance Coin is at 2556, down also 0.7. EOS is at 356 and up 0.6. And jump over Tether, we go to Bitcoin SV, which is 134, up 3.8%, which is really surprising considering the Craig Wright news overnight. Cardano at 49 cents and is down 2.1. So,
and Lee Stellar has jumped over the top of Monero.
Yeah, these two are playing a game, aren't they?
They are. A couple of weeks ago, it was Monero and Cardano. Now it's Stellar and Monero.
Yeah. So
come on, Stella, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it.
Yeah. So that's they're very, very close on the market cap, as we can see over here. So there's not much in it, and Cardano's got ahead a little bit, but again, not really a lot in it, really, when you think about it. And so in fact, they're catching up to Bitcoin SV. So there you go. So that is the top 10 for today. Our market cap is down just a frazz, sitting at 266 billion. Bitcoin dominance 68.2%.
Back over the 68, so it dropped down to 67.9 at one point.
Yeah. So so anyway, there you go. So jumping into crazy news, and because I like to look at the wider macroeconomic view of what's going on in the world, because I think I think it could be slightly relevant.
Just a little bit.
And so mortgage defaults are rising for the first time in America since the financial crisis. And they got a bunch of charts here showing. This first one is the annual change in default rate. So we can see there it's now jumped up again. It's got defaults by quarter on that one, but there's another one down here, the delinquencies. And this chart here shows the blue bars, which are the 90-plus day inventory, and then the green line, which goes across it, is the average days delinquent, right? Now, through the GFC, which is this big, if you're looking at the chart, there's a big spike in the middle of the delinquent inventory, which was the GFC back in, or post-GFC, 2008, 2009. And you can see even there the average days of delinquency, sort of, what's that, about, about 150 up to about almost 300 throughout the GFC sort of phase. But the days actually jumped up as high as, what's that, that looks about 550 odd in, what's that, 215. But we're still sitting, it looks at 364 days is the average delinquency time currently. So they're saying the delinquency rate fell 7% in July, which is offsetting the bulk of the June's calendar-related spike. And the rate is actually the lowest on any July on record for some strange reason. So you'd sort of think that that's sort of improving, but it's still, that's pretty bad. I mean, you've still got, an average of 364 days being delayed on mortgage payments. So, and look at this one. This one's a good one. Refinancing stats. Look at this massive spike here. Right. So it's up and down over the last since 2009. Yeah. So this first big spike happened.
Is this US? Is this US?
Yeah, this is the US, mate. Yeah.
So, how's it be civil?
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Look, we're probably not as severe as the US, at least at the moment. I should have a look at some of those figures for Australia as well and see what's happening there. So anyway, so there's some interesting data there, but it's definitely showing that there's a lot of mortgage stress happening out in the world, which obviously is a reflection on the wider economic health, shall we say. So, and this I find very interesting now. that a lot of the big banks are actually coming out and in opposition, well, not opposition, but they're actually bagging out the central banks, right? And so Bank of America now saying the central banks are creating these bubbles instead of actually helping the economy, and the result will be a disaster, right? Yeah. So interesting here that so that was remarks from Bank of America, but also Deutsche Bank. Who's this one? The head of foreign exchange at Deutsche Bank, Alan Ruskin. He also lashed out the central bank with 20 questions. Well, they're questions, but they're technically statements. But this goes back to 2009. But the questions are just as relevant today, right? And the questions, some of them were, will the Fed or the ECB buy equities and ETFs? How far will central banks willing to distort underlying value, or is distorting value intrinsic to central banking as per the Austrian critique? Now, go forward 10 years and we'll know that central banks around the world have been buying up equities all around the world to try and hold stocks. So this has actually been happening. He's also said, how much are central banks going to be complicit in a collapse in fiscal standards by buying public sector assets? Will a passive central bank simply accommodate and facilitate fiscal actions related to modern monetary theory? And so again, these comments he made 10 years ago are now proving to be right, because this is what the central banks are actually doing. And in fact, if you looked at Japan's central bank, they own, I don't know what the percentage is, but they own a vast majority of the country's assets, because the only way they can basically keep things afloat is just to keep buying shit, right? And this is what's happening all around the world. So there's, I think slowly but surely, people are starting to wake up to the fact that the central banks are not there to help us. And remember, people, they're a private organisation, right? The Federal Reserve of Australia is a privately owned organisation. It is not federal, right? And it's certainly not a reserve, right? So
just says that in his name.
And this is the thing, they do that to fools, right?
Yeah.
But it's not a government entity. And they're just there to make money, you know. Yeah. So it's been very interesting. And Rabobank sort of talks about this article. Sorry, yeah, we're moving on now. Sorry, I thought this was a continuation, but it's actually not. It's a completely different article. In this one, he says the US will simply not allow a new reserve currency without a fight, and this is in response to China. So I think we talked about, didn't we, that the China are looking to create their own digital country.
Yeah, their own currency there. Their Federal Reserve's going to their yang in digital form.
Yep.
That which is totally controlled and goes against the whole blockchain theory.
Well, open blockchain, right? I mean, blockchain's just technology, right? It could be open or private. So they want a centrally controlled one.
Yeah, it goes against what
Bitcoin was. Yeah, that's right. The ethos behind Bitcoin and exactly. So but Rabobank said the US aren't going to just let that happen. So again, these conflicts between the US and China, as if the trade wars aren't enough. Now the currency issues are going to jump into it as well. So, man, there's volatility ahead, I can tell you. That one, we won't worry about that one today, but we will talk about, just quickly look at the price of gold, because it's continuing to go up, people. So from an Australian perspective, it's actually up another 1.4%, right? And silver, how's that looking for the 24 hours? Because I think silver had a jump up as well. Look at that, we're $18.16. Oh no, Australian, that was US. So 26.90.
That's gone up.
That's gone up 3.38%. Yeah.
Wow.
So silver's catching up, and for those that have watched previous episodes, I've spoken about the gold to silver ratio, that historically it is really high. It makes sense that silver should start to run, because it's got a long way to catch up. So we'll see what happens there. All right. This is one you brought up, I think, mate.
It is, mate, and it is. And rather than going into all the technical stuff, Binance, as we know, are launching their own coin in, I guess, competition to Libra, and they want to be the biggest player in the market. And if you scroll down a little bit there for me, Stace, you can see there he's got a little bit too far, but that's okay, leave it there. So what they're doing is they're setting up a lending function, I guess, for want of a different word, that where you can, holders of coins in Binance can lend their tokens and their coins out to others, i.e. a loan, and they get paid interest back in coins when it comes back, and their lending period is 14 days. So if someone's got a whole pile of Bitcoin, you want to invest Bitcoin, you can actually apply through them to borrow that Bitcoin so that you can do your investment, then you pay it back with interest. Right?
Yeah.
Which can be a good idea, but as this article goes on, and very briefly at the end states, is it actually a good idea? And then the only reason I brought this up is that it opens up a conversation about it. Is it a good idea? Because you've then got Binance controlling those coins. Right? They're controlling them. They're lending them out from person A to person B and then getting interest on that. So it's becoming very similar to a bank holding your money.
Yeah, look, and it's not, it's certainly not the first that this is happening. In fact,
No, it's not.
I've actually got an app called Celsius, I think it's called, and it's sort of doing a similar thing whereby I can deposit coins into my Celsius app, and if I'm not going to use the coins or send them anywhere, I can actually I can stake them effectively and earn interest. It's like a savings account. So the old savings account where
I've got the same with Redcoin.
Yeah, that's a bit different because because when you stake, probably use the wrong word actually. It's not actually staking, because when you're staking, you're allowing your coins to be used to help the network. To actually help the network, depending on the project and how they work. But this one is just purely a case of you deposit money in your account, and then you just earn interest every week, right? So I'm not sure, because Binance has just opened up margin lending on their trading platform, but this looks to be different to that again. So get me into it. We'll have to have a look into that and see what they're going to do there. So what have we got here? This is Fragile. Yeah. So Max Keiser, and if anyone hasn't seen Max Keiser, he's a very colourful character and well worth a view. He's all over YouTube. He does his Keiser reports. He's on RT television as well, but he's been in the Bitcoin game for many years, and very much a Bitcoin bull. But his latest commentary is basically saying, look, the stock market is showing massive signs of extreme fragility. He reckons there's an air gap of about 15,000 points that's sitting beneath the current pricing. And when that trapdoor opens, expect Bitcoin at 25,000 and gold at $3,000. So I thought that was interesting, and he's certainly calling out the US-China trade war as a key driver for that to happen. So lots happening on the macroeconomic sense, my friend.
There always will be these days, especially while Donald J. Trump happens to be in office. He doesn't seem to understand the wider implications to the global economy of his continued tweeting and escalation of the trade war with China.
Look, our US president tweeting whatever crazy thing comes into his mind. What could go wrong?
Yeah, I know. I mean, go figure. I wonder why he's the first one that actually tweeted, because all the rest have said, no, it's too dangerous. Because, face it, Donald knows best.
Well, so Donald thinks.
I think the last Donald that was this famous was a fellow called Donald Duck. And he wasn't the rich one. He had an Uncle Scrooge.
He did. That's right, he did.
And if we want to look at this Donald, guess where his money came from? Mummy and daddy.
Yeah.
But don't please let the facts get in the way of a good story, Donald.
No. Well, why would you do that, right?
Yeah, exactly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's Two Crazy Guys in One Crazy Crypto World for another day. Thank you for joining us. And as always, don't forget to come on over to Patreon, become a silver or gold subscriber so you can get the bling bling.
Yay! Bitcoin bling.
Otherwise, Stacy's going to have to get a new picture. He's going to have like a dozen coins behind him. Right?
Wow, good. Absolutely. I wouldn't want that.
That's actually, Stace, what we should do is we should both get a piece of our bling bling and wear it. So everyone can see how good they are.
I could just see me with some bling around my neck.
I think you should get your ear pierced and dangle from your ear.
Oh, look, I'd love to, but then I wouldn't be able to put my headphones on, so I can't do that.
No, it'll stick below your headphones. Oh, I've got it worked out, dude.
Oh, good idea.
All right, ladies and gents, this has been episode 53 of Two Crazy Guys in One Crazy Crypto World. You all have a great day, and we shall see you tomorrow.
Have a crazy old day, folks.